I had two people asking about similar things, so I thought I'd just talk about it for a moment. And that's how we use asana and pranayama to affect the doshas on one level, and then how that exactly relates to meditation techniques for the inner koshas. So, and I think to answer that, and I realize that maybe with these two questions, maybe more people were unclear. So, just for clarity's sake, you have the koshas, and the doshas are descriptors of patterning that lead us to practices, right, that can help people balance themselves. So, in a way, they're simply that, right? They're groups of patterning or symptoms, right, that you can use to decide how to treat someone. And in the outer koshas, like the physical and the pranic body, it's a little more clear because let's say you have excess vata, right? You're exhibiting signs of too much vata, which would look like delusional behavior, confusion, sort of disoriented thinking. On an emotional level, it would look like anxiety. You would try to mitigate them. So we have a lot of basically breathing techniques, simple breathing techniques like alternate nostril breathing and sort of complete breaths, things that involve the pelvic floor. So you might see that as sort of, bringing down the vata so that it's back in balance. So that's a little more clear with the breathing techniques and the moving. But then when you get into the emotional, psychological, and then even probably more importantly, the Vijnanamaya kosha, the unconscious thoughts and patterning that affect people, it's less about it being too much or too little, the vata, and more simply about balance as obtained through awareness or opening. So what we do as we work with meditation techniques is try to find meditation techniques that facilitate that happening, so that allow people, right, to access, say, their unconscious and bring it into the conscious realm so it can be dealt with. So it's not quite the same as more or less. So it's not like you would use one meditation technique, right, to stimulate, say, vata, and one meditation technique to placate vata. So the way we use the doshas and the inner bodies, and let's say the unconscious mind, is to more think about what someone is presenting and then use that presentation to help us pick the most appropriate meditation technique so that they can be more balanced in general. So it's not, if it seems, now I know some of you who are listening are like, what is this guy talking about? I'm on lesson 12, so don't worry, it's all coming, so that's fine. But if you are here, it's not so much about pumping up or bringing down a dosha in the inner bodies, in the Anandamaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha. It's more about skillfully choosing techniques that bring someone more into balance. And so the way that intersects with Vata Pitta Kapha is, well, I'm seeing, say in this case, a lot of Vata signs and symptoms, like signs and symptoms of Vata being imbalanced. So I'm going to pick this meditation technique and teach it to this person because I think it might help. So it's more like that. So it's the same in that you see signs and symptoms and you pick something, but it is, it's definitely more of a gray area than the physical and pranic bodies, where it's very clear, or it can be very clear, if you're seeing, let's just say, excess pitta signs, that something needs to be done. And I think what is confusing, and the way I work is a little more subtle in a way than other people would approach this, is you're not simply trying to you're not simply trying to placate symptoms, right? So for instance, pitta is heat, so I'm going to do a cooling breath. Like that's fine, and you can do that. But what we kind of look at a little bit in this course is how do I get that pitta into balance so that it's not going out of balance all the time. So we try to get out of that cycle of like too much pitta and then cooling breath, and then it's back down, and then too much pitta, and then it's back down. So the bigger question would be like, how do you get somebody so they kind of get beyond those cycles and get more balanced in general? So the meditation techniques do the same thing.